Coverage tonight on the crisis in Ukraine. 10 TV's Lindsay Mills has reaction from members of the local community personally hurt by this tragedy overseas.
But we begin tonight with 10 TV's Kevin Landers. He spoke with a military historian about the response from the United States. Economic sanctions are already at play. Now the question is what comes next and how it impacts you. Kevin?
According to a military historian that I spoke to, he says President Biden isn't about to send U.S. military forces into Ukraine to push back Vladimir Putin's Russian army for fear of starting a nuclear war. And Putin has more than 1,000 nuclear warheads at his disposal. The war in Ukraine is a plain and simple power grab for Russian President Vladimir Putin, who wants to resurrect the Soviet empire, which Ukraine was once a part of.
Vladimir Putin wants Ukraine to be tethered to Russia and to look east for its economic and military ties, not west.
Retired Army Colonel Peter Mansoor is a military history professor at Ohio State and believes Putin won't stop at Ukraine.
He is going to start by taking Ukraine, if he can, and then go from there. And it's why he needs to be stopped, because I don't think this is his last demand.
And if Putin were to lose the war, Mansoor says nuclear war is not out of the question.
If he doesn't win this conflict, he'll be ousted from power, and then he orders a nuclear strike on Ukraine. And that puts the world into a very, very different place.
Some voters believe that Putin's decision to strike Ukraine would not have happened under former President Donald Trump. Mansoor disagrees.
President Biden did as much as he could to deter Russia without committing U.S. forces to defend Ukraine. The fact is that Putin wasn't going to be deterred by economic sanctions or diplomatic maneuvering. He wanted to take over Ukraine, and he was going to invade regardless who was in power.
The war in Ukraine is driving higher gas prices here in the U.S., but Mansoor says it's also because OPEC, which controls the world's oil supply, isn't producing more oil to reap higher profits. Some Americans also argue that if President Biden had not stopped the construction of the Keystone Pipeline from Canada to the Gulf, gas prices would not be as high. Mansoor says if the pipeline would have continued, it would be finished about now.
There wouldn't have been more oil in the world even had the pipeline been constructed. I think more to the point, had we continued to encourage fracking in various areas in the United States, there would have been more oil and gas on the market.
Professor Mansoor believes that President Putin may have underestimated the fight of the Ukrainian people and doesn't believe that the Russian army can overtake the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. As for President Biden, during his speech tonight, not only will he talk about the war, but also how to deal with inflation here at home. Reporting from the Digital Broadcast Center, Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.